So Chael Sonnen and Islam Makhachev had a little back and forth this week over comments that Chael Sonnen made on the Good Guy Bad Guy show, a show that he co-hosts with his training partner DC. So we're gonna watch the clip, we're gonna read the tweets, and then we're gonna talk about the whole cowardice thing, and we're gonna talk about why Islam made this move, why we wanted to see Ilia, all that stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the clip from Good Guy Bad Guy. So, I'm gonna start this off at 2:38. I'm not sure how much of this I'm gonna put in this video because ESPN. I'm nowhere as big as they are, but without further ado,
Islam going up, keeping the belt, trying Islam saying he's keeping the belt. And then all of a sudden, he isn't keeping the belt. So do you agree, Chael? Do you agree with the UFC going, okay, Islam, we'll give you this fight, but you have to vacate?
I don't hate the idea. Here's where my confusion comes in is how come these things aren't clearer? For example, if you ask Islam if you were stripped, Islam will say no. If you ask the UFC was this stripped, the UFC will say yes. I'm just not sure why these terms aren't clearer. If Islam's goal was to go up to 170 so he could have...
Okay, that's a good point by Chael Sonnen. We had to make it clear now, since Ilya started what seems to be the trend now of vacating your title before they move up, whether the UFC wants fighters to do that to make sure the divisions don't stall out. Because as fans, we love super fights. We love seeing a dominant champion face another dominant champion that hasn't lost for years. But the downside to these super fights is you're putting a division on hold for majority of the time, a year plus for these super fights. Maybe they get it done in the matter of 6 months, but that's if you're lucky. And that's before what's been going on this year with the lack of promotion, with the overall downtrend in MMA in every metric. But let's continue on and listen to Chael Sonnen.
Change champ status, but they take the 55-pound title away. They also take that opportunity to become champ away. But hear me out on this, because they did the same thing to Ilia Topuria, and Ilia is claiming that he wasn't stripped. In fact, not only is Ilia claiming he wasn't stripped, it was as recently as last week on the Errol Hawani program. They swore up and down that Ilia was promised a title shot, whether it involved Islam or not. That they were so into the idea of Ilia going up for a title shot that whether it involved Islam or not, he would be given a title. I don't believe that.
I think that has to do with multiple reasons. I think it has to do with the fact that Ilia just beat two of the top three greatest featherweights of all time, back to back, knocked them both out. And the UFC right now needs a start. They need a fix the sport. Sean O'Malley is not gonna fucking work. It's not gonna work. I know they're trying it in a few weeks here. If he beats Marab the second time, I would be beyond shocked. But Topuria can step into that role. Topuria already is a big name in Spain. He's already becoming, the big with the casuals. Now they have Pereira losing to Ankalaev. He's a big guy. He's a guy on the winning streak. He's undefeated.
You strip a guy, that is a sign that you're not happy with the guy, right? You don't ever, no parent puts the kid in their bedroom or bends them over the knee because they did a good job. The UFC doesn't want you walking away from belts, is my belief. The UFC is not going to reward you for walking away from belts, is my belief. And the term stripped is a negative term in this industry. At least that's my belief.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it, Chael. I believe that they are within their right to go, we don't want to tie up two divisions. I do also believe...
They cannot tie up two divisions. That is the problem. But the lightweight division is being fucking held up. The lightweight division has always contenders that will only fight for the belt. Gaethje only wants a title shot, even though he beat the number 12 ranked Rafael Fiziev for the second time by decision. Yeah, Roman Sorokin, who should get the title, pulled out, understood why he wasn't going to get the next shot, and now he backtracked that. And now, like, with having Islam, it's tough. Having Islam move up and not fight Topuria, it's more than the zero. And one of the things that you need to look at is obviously from the UFC's point of view, they want to put on the big fights. They want to make the most money. They want to sell the most tickets, sell the most pay-per-views. But it's also about having two fighters at the peak of their career fighting at that peak. So we can go back and look, man, these two were on a run, and then they finally met each other. And then Islam got it done by submitting Ilia. Ilia actually knocked out Makhachev and grabbed the lightweight belt. Probably having the best, 3-fight winning streak, even though he's undefeated, knocking out Volk, knocking out Max, knocking out Islam. That will be the greatest back-to-back fight run we've ever seen. And now we're going to hear DC speak as a representative for his fans, which I get, but also for Ali Abdelaziz. And that's where my main rant is going to start.
I believe, though, that when you get a guy like Islam, who has defended the belt as many times as he's defended, who has been available, who has fought guys on short notice, he fought Moicano on a day's notice. I think in that,
he was training for fucking Arman Sarukian. I get it. Changing your opponent the day before, you have to give Islam credit for. But Islam was training for the number one guy in the division. Ronaldo Moicano was training for a 38-year-old Benil Dariush, who's ranked number 8 or number 9, wherever he was ranked at that point in time. And now we're going to see that fight again relatively soon here. Where is the consistency here? Where is the consistency? So, if they would have got the Gaethje fight, they would have had that. Maybe they would have done Oliveira and Ilia Topuria anyway. And then, would you have fought Ilia then? And then the big thing about Justin Gaethje getting a title shot off of beating Rafael Fiziev, again, the number 12th ranked lightweight. He got knocked out by Max Holloway, the number 1 contender at 145, who got fucking flatline KO for the first time against Ilia Topuria. Like, we talk about MMA math here all the time in mixed martial arts. He beat him, so he beats him. It's dumb logic that doesn't make sense, but we adhere by it. By Ali Abdelaziz's logic, by Islam's logic, by that entire team's logic, all signs led to the Topuria fight.
you get some goodwill, and you should have the opportunity to be a double champion. But
100%.
you have to have something that's known. Is you've got to have a decision for me the moment you have both of those belts. If it happens, you're either staying up and vacating the belt down at the lower weight class, or you're going to vacate the upper belt and go back down. I can't have you just sitting here with 2 titles for a year and not fighting. Or we have a time frame in which you have to defend it. One of those championships. Generally, Chael, the guy will choose to defend the heavier one. because you don't want to cut the weight if you don't have to. You and I have talked about that on a number of occasions. But to take the opportunity now, and it really does come down to, if the boss is excited about it. When Conor won that second belt, it made...
Okay. I kind of thought that DC was going to actually go on with a good point there. Defending Islam and talking about how, it makes more sense for him to fight JDM, who just had a really good performance against Bilal Muhammad. He would have a weight advantage or at least be the same weight as Islam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a height advantage. But DC is just going to ramble on. So, I want to head over here and look at the tweets. Chael Sonnen sends mocking response to Islam Makhachev after Dagestan checks the veteran's comments. So, in response to Chael Sonnen calling Makhachev cowardice for not taking the Ilia fight, he went on X and said, chasing hype and money is not the same as chasing greatness in the sport. But average athlete who built his way to the top with cheap trash talk won't understand. So please sit and watch how others doing it, Uncle Joe. And then we get a video from Uncle Joe responding.
There are many paths to greatness, son. Travel yours as I traveled mine. And I will be there to help you as you stumble, as I always have. Signed, Uncle Chael. No. Signed, your guardian angel. No. Signed, your elder brother. You know what? Put them all. Uncle Chael, your guardian angel, your elder brother. And in the future, if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. No. Leave that part out. Let me extend an olive branch. There are many.
So that was Chael's response. And that's a good response. And then let's see. What does Chael, or does it have DC score here? DC did get better about it, obviously. But I mean, Chael has a point, right? Where, you only get so many blockbuster fights. And for Islam, he defended the belt 4 times. It would be nice to see him get one more. But again, he's the greatest lightweight to ever do it. It's either between him or Khabib. I love BJ Penn. BJ Penn is surpassed. Maybe BJ Penn took his career more seriously. We would have a better discussion here. But like, it's so fucking frustrating. Because when this whole thing started, when Ilia versus Islam became an actual thing, and then they were talking about it, and then we have Ilia vacate his belt, and we're like, oh, we're actually gonna get it here. And, with no promotion, no fights except for Paulo Costa and Roman Kovalev on International Fight Week, all signs pointed toward Islam and Topuria. But then we get a rumor from a random insider that if JDM won, Islam's moving up. If Bilal won, Islam's fighting Topuria. And it wasn't until a media member pried it out of Dana White at a press conference that that's actually what's happening. But I don't know, man. Like, the fan in me wants the sport. The logical side of me who understands Islam and his teams, and let's face it, always motive here is you can go up to welterweight, you can fight JDM, you have a decent shot at beating him. It's a very close fight. And then, if you guys watched my video yesterday, little Ollie, then the little Smurf himself, came out in an interview and said, well, if Kamaru Usman wins against Buckley and Islam beats JDM, I'm not going to sit in the middle of that. I'm just going to let them show, but yeah. I'm just going to take a massive paycheck off of both sides. And that was the plan the entire time. The moment I read that, it was like, okay. So they were adamant to get in the Gaethje fight, a fight that Islam, everybody knew Islam would win that fight. Islam would beat Khabib worse than Khabib beat him. Okay, well, fans don't really want that fight. What a backlash. Alright, well, if we just leave the division, wait, one quick dark. But if we come on and say, hey, if JDM wins, I want my shot, they can't say anything. And if you win that belt, we can help out Marty over here. We can send him off with a shot at the belt, fat paycheck. Dana White loves his guys. I'm fucking over it, man. I'm fucking over it. All we have done is I get it. I respect him. Yeah, as a businessman, as somebody in the sport, as a guy that goes to bat for his fighters and gets his fighters most of what they want. But I mean, hey, we know what goes on in those negotiations. It's fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying that we have this one manager managing all of these top guys in the two weight divisions right next to each other. And they're already talking about double dipping. Ali is already looking at, all right, how many super fights of my guys can I make here? Because I think he sees the writing on the wall, too. Usman's almost done. Islam's almost done. Henry's done. Majority of his top guys are done. I'm fucking over it. I'm fucking so done with the way the UFC has been ran the last year and a half. But that's basically what I've been saying the last month, and it won't change anything. Well, let me know, what do you think about this little beef that Chael Sonnen and Islam have? Do you agree with Chael Sonnen that it was cowardice? Now, I want to clarify Chael's words. It was cowardice for Islam to leave the division and not fight Ilia. Or do you think, no, it makes sense, Islam deserves a shot at the 170 title? If he beats another featherweight champion, he'll be a featherweight merchant, right? But I'm interested to hear all you have to say. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, it all helps. And yeah, later.